What is going on, everybody? Seth Rollins. I'm here for a Monday Night Raw review for August the 25th, 2021. The season premiere of the new era of Monday Night Raw, with the new draft being done, Crown Jewel being in the books. We are now here with Raw's new roster, and who's going to go after Big E's championship? Who's going to go after Damian Priest's championship? Will we see somebody else face Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship, or will we get more of the same? And how many rematches will we get on this night? Well, we were supposed to have a rematch from Saudi Arabia between AJ Styles, Omos versus the RK Bros, but that did not happen. And I can only assume that AJ Styles might have COVID or COVID-related symptoms or something, because he was not here tonight. So we had a triple threat tag team match during the show that gave us a new tag team title match later in the show. Now, we start the show, Big E comes out. Of course, he is the WWE Champion, so why wouldn't you start the new era of Monday Night Raw with either the Raw Women's Champion or the WWE Champion? Roman's on SmackDown at the start of the show every week, it seems like, so Big E should do the same. He comes out, he talks about the new era and being all happy and everything. Who's going to be the first person to face? He does praise Drew McIntyre for being such a badass and somebody who took him to the limit at Saudi Arabia. He wonders who's going to be his first opponent. Out comes Seth Rollins, who wants the first shot. Of course, Big E reminds him, dude, you lost the Edge at Crown Jewel. You lost in that Hell in a Cell match. So why should you get the first shot? Seth, of course, comes up with many reasons why, and then out comes Rey Mysterio, who was the first of a few who come out and give us their accolades. He's a former 3-time world champion, multiple-time tag team champion, U.S. Intercontinental champion, and a 1-time WWE champion, which he held for about 2 hours before John Cena took it from him, or an hour and 45 minutes. Was SmackDown Monday Night Raw at 3 hours yet? I think so. So about 2.5 hours, whatever it was. Anyway, so that happens. And then out comes Finn Balor, who also gives us a accolade list of former, and he actually mentioned he is a 2-time NXT champion, which makes me wonder, when we hear them talk about the Charlotte's title reigns on Friday, because you know what's going to happen the next time she's on TV. She's an umpteenth-time champion. Will it be 12 or will it be 14? Because if Finn Balor can mention that he is a former 2-time NXT champion, why won't they count the Charlotte's NXT title reigns in her list? I just don't understand that. And yeah, then out comes Kevin Owens, who does the same exact thing. Why in the living fuck are these guys coming out and giving us their accolades of how many championships they've won? I don't get it. It makes no fucking sense. It's annoying as shit. It's fucking stupid. Somebody please explain to me why every one of these guys had to come out here and name their accolades. They could have all just came out and said something about why they won a title shot, and then you have the big fight that they have. Because yes, Owens comes out and mentions he won the Universal Championship in the building they're in tonight. And he pinned at Seth Rollins, mentions where Seth Rollins was laying in the middle of the ring when it happened. That pisses Seth off. The 4 men have a fight. Big E just stands back and lets it all happen. Seth goes to leave. Out comes Sonya Deville. They're still having Adam Pearce sell the beatdown he took from Brock Lesnar, so she is still the one in charge right now. And she makes a match for the main event. A fatal 4-way match. Winner gets the first crack at Big E in this new era. But before she's done, she's like, you know what? It's the season premiere. Let's up the ante. Let's raise the stakes. And let's make it a ladder match. You know what? I'm fine with that. But why? I like that is one of the few things tonight that they actually did that I'm okay with. But why did we have to have four big, like, top name guys come out and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a former Intercontinental, U.S., Universal, WWE, and NXT champion," and just list off all these accolades? Who gives a shit what you did all those times ago? It's what have you done for me lately? And, like, what have these four done? Seth Rollins lost at Crown Jewel. Kevin Owens got beat up by Happy Corbin over the last few weeks. Rey Mysterio hasn't done shit except for watch his son get beat over and over the last few weeks and lose a tag team title match. What was it? At the September pay-per-view? Yeah. There's a pay-per-view in September. Yeah. Whatever the pay-per-view in September was. Yeah. So why do I care what happens with any of these guys? And Finn Balor lost to Roman Reigns in a Universal title match, not once, but twice. Remember the Demon getting embarrassed and made to look stupid in the match? Yeah, it was Extreme Rules, because who's going to forget what they did to the Demon and how they killed the Demon? These three guys are perennial fucking losers. And they are the first four guys who come out here asking for a WWE Championship match. Was there literally nobody else? Hell, you had Damian Priest the night after he won the U.S. Championship at SummerSlam. 2 nights after, I'm sorry, it was on Saturday, that's right. Speaking of SummerSlam, next year's SummerSlam is going to be in July for the first time ever. You want to know why? Because WWE is going to try and take AEW down pay-per-view wise, because as we all know, the pay-per-views for AEW are once every quarter. And they're going to have their pay-per-view All Out September during that Labor Day weekend. WWE decided they were going to put SummerSlam in at the end of July. And August is not going to have a pay-per-view because September 3rd or 4th is going to be a pay-per-view for WWE. The pay-per-view name and location is yet to be determined. Why? Because WWE, the day that we know that All Out is named, they're gonna book either the Allstate Arena or the United Center if Tony Khan hasn't got the United Center first, and they're going to book a pay-per-view in Chicago to go head-to-head with AEW and try to outsell them ticket-wise, because honestly, other than table merchandise, which nobody gives a shit about that outside of stupid idiots, other than ticket sales, WWE has nothing to challenge AEW against on pay-per-view. AEW has pay-per-view buys. WWE has Peacock. They're not even the same thing. So I don't understand why WWE thinks that they're going to be able to stifle AEW at All Out 2022, especially if CM Punk is in one of the main event matches, if not in the world title match at the All Out, if we get to that. Or if somehow, someway, the main event match of that show would be, Bryan Danielson versus CM Punk. That show better be in the fucking United Center, and that show will be sold out instantly, and there ain't a damn thing WWE will be able to do. All Out should be in the United Center. It should not be in the former the One Center or whatever it's called now. Anyway, so my biggest question for this WWE Championship match, this ladder match, no matter who wins, what happens? When's the match going to happen? Because Survivor Series is the next pay-per-view, and that's going to be Raw vs. SmackDown, which some dumbass on social media the other day was like, why isn't NXT part of Survivor Series again? Because NXT got their asses beat 75 out of 74 weeks in the ratings against AEW on Wednesday nights. and they got revamped into 2.0, which is a developmental version of NXT, and WWE and Vince wants NXT nowhere near the main roster anymore. They got one chance to be promoted as equal to Raw and SmackDown, and they fucking blew it. It's not their fault. It's Vince McMahon's fault for even doing that. So, a ladder match is the main event tonight. So, Rollins, of course, was not happy about this. He just wants to be gifted the title shot. Of course, as you know, before Edge and him started scuffling and everything, he felt like he should have been the one to get the title shot when Edge had his one-on-one match against Roman Reigns a couple months ago. Of course, he screwed Edge. They ended up having this the trilogy between SummerSlam and Crown Jewel. But here we are now. Seth Rollins wants a title match, and he thinks he deserves it, but he has to earn it. I am fine with them having to earn it. I still want to know why these four losers who have not won very often, the only one who's won really in the last, 2 months or so, was Seth Rollins at Madison Square Garden. But of course, he lost at Crown Jewel. So, these four guys, their last matches that they wrestled on SmackDown were loss, and loss. So how does that equal getting into a Fatal 4-Way match on Raw for the WWE Championship? Oh, it's a new era, so we have to forget everything that happened on SmackDown, even though we have not one, but two female rematches later in the night. Number one contender match, the Street Profits versus the Dirty Dogs versus the Alpha Academy. This match is happening because AJ Styles was not here tonight for whatever reason. I missed that. I didn't really hear why he was not here tonight. Omos is here though, and he'll play a factor into this match. So, out of these three teams, Street Profits, I want to nowhere near the World Tag Team titles. They have been Tag Team Champions many times and have been in the top contendership for the Tag Team titles for the last 2 years. So, out of the two other options, I would have won with the Alpha Academy. Otis and Chad Gable on SmackDown for the last 6 to 9 months have been killing it as a tag team. Give these guys a chance already. But who did they go with? They went with the Dirty Dogs. But again, I'm not too upset about that. I would have been like, really, the Street Profits again? How many tag team title matches do these guys get? Hell, they had a tag team title match on the final SmackDown before Crown Jewel. Why? I don't even fucking know. Anyway, match was fine. Triple threat match. Omos cost the Street Profits the match as he decked Dawkins from the apron. Dawkins then stumbles and turns around into assisted Famouser spinebuster combo by Rude and Ziggler. Rude covers 1, 2, 3, and they get the title shot for later in the show. We see how Queen Zelena, why isn't it Queen Vega? Same thing with Woods. Why is it not King Woods? Why is it King Xavier? It's like Baron Corbin won the King of the Ring in 2019. He wasn't King Baron. He was King Corbin. So why is it first name King or Queen first name instead of King and Queen last name, which would sound a lot better? Queen Vega sounds better than Queen Zelena. Just saying. So she comes out to do a coronation, and my God, her fucking accent. I don't know what she was trying to do here, but she kept dipping in and out of a British accent for whatever reason. I didn't understand this. Like, she got all upset that Mike Rome didn't give her a proper introduction. And then she, like, in the shittiest British accent I ever heard, say, was that so hard to do? And, like, she's talking, and this segment lasted longer, it felt like, than the entire first round of the Queen's Crown Tournament. Why is this? Why did the Queen's Crown Tournament get no love at all from WWE, but yet this coronation lasted longer than the entire first round? It's utterly ridiculous. I don't understand this company. Obviously, you know who's running the women's division. It's John Laurinaitis and Bruce Pritchard. They hate women's professional wrestling. John Laurinaitis sees women's professional wrestling as the Divas era, where you get 2-second matches. Like, you ring the bell, you roll them up, that's it. The whole gives the Divas a chance, the women's evolution, the Divas revolution, that shit's been dead since Ronda Rousey left, since these two bums came back in. This company is just going to fucking kill the women's division, and they continue to not fucking care. So she talks, and we see all the women backstage. They are watching in disgust because this woman is just talking down on them. And then out comes Piper Niven to have a rematch from Crown Jewel. And I'm thinking to myself, rematch? I thought this was a new era. New feuds, new personnel, new exciting matches. But yeah, we get Zelena Vega versus Piper Niven. Why? Why do we need this match? You couldn't have her go up against Nikki ASH. You couldn't have her go up against Rhea Ripley or Tamina or anybody else. No. You just Zelena Vega versus Piper Niven. This match lasted longer than any of the matches in the Queen's Crown Tournament Round 1. This was probably the longest match in women's wrestling outside of the top 4 in a while. It felt like this match went 5 minutes, and that's sad. 5-6 minutes. Vega wins, don't really care, moving on. Video package shows what happened between Brock Lesnar and Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Why are we getting the recap of SmackDown on Raw when they're two different brands? I don't fucking know. Out comes Raw Women's Champion Big Time Bex, the man herself. The announcers note that the women's title exchange segment between Lynch and Women's Champion Charlotte about 9,000 was a little contentious. You don't say. Apparently, after they both went backstage, they got into the shouting match. Charlotte didn't talk to Vince McMahon and was escorted from the building, and went to Orlando to be with her fiance Andrade Idolo and support him in AEW. Something she can do because Tony Khan cares about professional wrestling and cares about making his talent happy, where WWE wants to ruin their talent and says, fuck the talent. We don't care about the happiness. They just come here, they're a cog in the machine, you do what we say, we don't give a shit if you think it's stupid. If Vince McMahon loves it, you're gonna fucking do it. If these women, Becky, Charlotte, and anyone else would have stood up and said, hey Vince, this title exchange was stupid last year and it's stupid this year. The tag team divisions have been how can I say this? The tag team divisions have been forgettable for at least since 2016 when they became separate branded. Other than the Usos versus the New Day in 2017, which was the feud of the year that year, the tag team divisions on both shows have been bland and have been boring and have been repetitive. The women's titles have been seen in a higher regard, not too much higher, but a higher regard than both of those. So why am I seeing this happen? I just don't fucking understand it. I don't understand. Why am I getting Charlotte? Why am I getting a title exchange? And on top of that, Charlotte showed how much she really didn't care by throwing the title down on accident, which nobody buys, and neither do I. She showed Vince how much she cared, how much this title exchange annoyed her. I don't blame her. Was it unprofessional? Yes. Should she have done what she was told? Yes. If you actually give a shit and didn't want this to happen, you fight tooth and nail with Vince McMahon last Monday, drop the title to Bianca Belair, then Becky fights tooth and nail to drop the title to Sasha Banks at Crown Jewel, so the title swap never has to happen. Would it have been a bad thing for Bianca Belair to show up on Monday Night Raw this week as a Raw Women's Champion, and Becky Lynch has to chase her because Becky Lynch isn't the women's champion and everything else? No. We just had to do a title swap because Vince McMahon is lazy. So she comes out. She's like, you know what? I'm done with Bianca. I'm done with everyone else. I think it's time to give other women chances. How about Liv Morgan? How about I beat up Liv Morgan? How about Rhea Ripley? they will both learn, and that, like Bella and Sasha Banks learn, that Becky always gets what she wants. She goes on until out comes Bianca Belair, who should not get another title opportunity. Yes, she won by disqualification last week in a very forgettable match. These two talk. Bianca says, you know what? You're upset because these people still cheer me, even though you're so full of yourself because you think that you're the best, you're better than everybody else. But it bothers you that these people cheer me, and yet you think that they should be cheering you only. Well, I'm sorry, but the last time you guys had a one-on-one match, it was 60-40 or 70-30 cheers. Becky. People were cheering more for Becky than they were Bianca. Yes, there's people still rooting for Bianca, but when it comes to a match between these two, it's more Becky than it is Bianca, and you can't argue that otherwise. Again, I don't care about these two wrestling again. What they did at SummerSlam, they did not fix and rectify and make sense the next Friday on SmackDown. Had Bianca come out, pissed off, ticked off the fact that her championship was stolen from her in 26 seconds at SummerSlam, and went on this, I wouldn't say heel run, because Montez Ford is not heel yet, so they're not going to turn Bianca Belair heel until Montez turns heel, but she should have came down, not twirling her hair, smiles, waving to everybody. She should have came down pissed off, like, listen, I should be SmackDown Women's Champion still, but I got surprised by Becky Lynch coming back, stealing my championship, and I ain't happy about it. But no, she just comes back. She came out waving her hair, thinking that, oh, I'm so awesome and everything. I face adversity. She's been doing that I face adversity promo down our throat since day fucking one, and I'm kind of fucking sick of it. Bianca Belair is better as a heel. The sooner they turn her heel and keep Becky Lynch as the babyface she should have been from the start when they brought her back, the better. But this is what you have. Bianca wanted a title match tonight. That wasn't going to happen. Bella said, Lynch said, you know what? You see look at my face. It says, get back to the line. Get back and get to the end of the line, bitch. Bianca attacks her because she's upset that Becky won't give her what she wants. They fight. They get a kendo stick. Becky stands tall for a minute. And then she says, you know what? You got your rematch, but not tonight. Throws the mics down as she's heading to the back. That match will happen next week. All I got to say about this. Win, lose, draw, this is it. I do not want to see, after next week, I do not want to see Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for any championship for the next year. Liv Morgan should be in the title picture. She is loved by the fans. Everybody wants to see Liv Morgan get a chance at the championship. If you really wanted to turn Becky Lynch heel and make a heel turn run work, Becky Lynch should have came back and bullied the shit out of Liv Morgan. Have Liv Morgan fight back, of course, but be this nasty bitch heel to somebody like a beloved woman like Liv Morgan. I'm going to be honest right now. People love Liv Morgan more than they do Bianca Belair. There ain't no fact. That's just fact right there. If you listen to crowd reactions when Liv comes out compared to Bianca Belair, yes, there's cheers there, but there are people who are indifferent, and there's a few people who don't care about Bianca Belair. Everybody loves Liv Morgan. Everybody. So, having Liv Morgan be bullied and picked on by Becky Lynch would have been a perfect catalyst to make Becky Lynch a big heel. That's just how it is. So that match is happening next week. I don't care. Just get it over with and get me to somebody else. Championship contenders match. United States Champion Damian Priest versus T-Bar. Yes, he's still T-Bar. And Damian Priest has new music. What was wrong with Damian Priest's theme? What was wrong with Damian Priest coming down to his theme? The Archer of Infamy and all that good stuff. Why did we need to change Damian Priest's music? I don't understand why they needed to change the music. The music wasn't a problem. Nothing about Damian Priest was a problem. He wanted to live in infamy. But here we go. They changed its theme. I don't know why. The only thing I can think about is that Damian Priest's music was made by CFO. And that's the only thing I can see why. But my question is, why would you change Damian Priest's theme now when Damian Priest has been using the theme since NXT? But I don't know who actually made who made that theme. It just doesn't make any sense why you would change the theme. Yes, people are like, oh, but why are you upset about his theme being changed? Because his theme works so well with him. So well. Yeah, no, it's just what WWE likes to do. They like to just ruin everybody. But it is what it is. WWE just doesn't give a shit. I mean, you really can't tell what the theme really sounds like. It's going to be one of those things that we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens with that. And I have to listen to it again. Maybe they'll put it up on YouTube and I can hear what it sounds like without the crowd noise. But like, he came out and the dude he played into it. So maybe it's like, if it was his choice, he's like, you know what? I don't want to use that old theme. I got this theme instead. That's one thing. If WWE said, Damian, your theme doesn't work anymore, we're going to get rid of it. I say the latter. Why is Dominik Dijakovic still T-Bar? Why? Why can't this guy be Dominik Dijakovic? T-Bar is a terrible fucking name. Mace is a fine name for a lower mid-card wrestler. Somebody who is in the lower mid-card, maybe sometime challenging, like, if you build him up enough, can get challenging for a tag team championship with somebody, or Intercontinental title, not win, but challenge. I'm fine with that. But T-Bar is a terrible name. That name needs to change. Dominik Dijakovic needs to be Dijakovic. Get rid of this T-Bar shit and just give him his name back. Again, I don't know why. By the way, WrestleMania 38 will be 2 nights in April 2nd and 3rd, or whatever. I think it was 2nd or 3rd or 3rd or 4th. It's the 2nd and 3rd. Yeah, 2nd and 3rd. Which is fine. WrestleMania should be 2 nights for the foreseeable future. Because if you want to get everybody on WrestleMania, 2 nights is the best. Hall of Fame can be on Thursday. Takeovers aren't going to be a thing anymore, so that's fine. The 2.0 doesn't deserve to have takeovers, I'm just saying. But that was what they did. They announced today doing their pay-per-view, the pay-per-views for 2022 announcements. February and August and October don't have pay-per-views for this year. Now, February, of course, could be with Revolution, and they want to try and team that up, but no. February and August, October are probably going to be your Saudi Arabian shows, because WWE is supposed to have 2 a year. They had 1 in 2020 and 1 in 2021 because of the pandemic. But they're going back to 2 next year. February and October are going to be your 2 Saudi Arabian shows. They haven't announced them yet because they don't know when the Saudi Arabian Sports Authority wants them to come back. Match was okay. T-Bar loses by disqualification because he was getting his ass kicked. He goes outside. He takes Corey Graves' chair and chucks it at Damian Priest, hitting Damian Priest. This Damian Priest snap. Damian Priest just started seething. He was pissed. He laid this guy out with a lariat. He starts beating the fucking shit out of this guy. He throws him not into the ring steps, but on top of the ring steps. Holy shit, he was not happy. I have never seen this kind of anger out of Damian Priest. He beat him so silly. I'm hoping this will be like one of those things that instead of just making him Dijakovic again, maybe he beat T-Bar out of him, and maybe when we see him again, he'll be Dominik Dijakovic. I could be thinking that, but I doubt it. Carmella's backstage with her custom face mask. Who gives a shit? She's gonna face Liv Morgan. So again, we're back to Monday Night Rematch Mania. Monday Night Rematch. Monday Night Raw, where rematches happen every single week. So the new era for WWE for Raw is bringing feuds from SmackDown to Raw, and this feuds from Raw to SmackDown. That is your new era. Because we have Carmella versus Liv Morgan. This match lasted longer than this match for sure lasted longer than their Queen's Crown tournament match. Remember, Liv Morgan got beat by Carmella in like a minute and 59 seconds, or a minute and 46 seconds to go move on to face Zelena Vega. This match had to last at least 4 minutes. And Carmella wins with a different variation of the X Factor. I will give her that one. Now, Corey Graves, of course, they are now engaged. Congratulations to them. He put a zinger of a line on commentary towards Byron Saxton. He said, "Byron, the only reason you're not engaged because inanimate objects can't say yes." Oh, what a burn! So there's that. Carmella wins. Liv Morgan deserves better. Honestly, Daddy Gino, I think is her name. Giano Daddio, I think is her real name. She deserves better, and I wish she would leave WWE and go to All Elite Wrestling to team up with her friend Ruby Soho, and we could have the Riot Squad make their return, only being used better in AEW. I don't know when I think his name is Gio. I don't know when her contract comes up, but I would definitely love to see her leave and go somewhere else where they would actually give her a chance. And AEW needs women who actually can wrestle. I mean, look at the women's champion. The women's champion's fucking ridiculously stupid. Giano Jane Daddio. Hell of a name. That's a hell of a fucking name. But yeah, so Giano Daddio for AEW, please. Time for Keith Bearcat Lee. What's wrong with the Bearcat Keith Lee? I think that would be a lot better. Other than Bret the Hitman Hart and Jerry the King Lawler, which those actually fit, I'd rather have nicknames be before the wrestler's name. Like the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the People's Champ The Rock, Hollywood Hogan, which Hollywood is something like that. Something like that. The Phenomenal AJ Styles, not AJ the Phenomenal Styles, or Rick the Nature Boy Flair, or like the Bearcat Keith Lee would sound so much better. I do not like this version of Keith Lee. This is not Keith Lee. This is them manufacturing. Did they take Keith Lee, put him in cryostasis, and clone him, and make him into this robotic version of him? Because this Keith Lee is not the Keith Lee that you would see in NXT, being a world wonder, being somebody who's limitless. This guy, they don't know how to use this guy. He goes out there, he squashes Cedric Alexander, and I can't say much about this. I don't like this version of Keith Lee. The Keith Lee we saw, who made his debut against Randy Orton and was just on another level, is better than this Keith Lee. I don't like this Keith Lee at all. So, earlier in the night, Dominic, after the Fatal 4 was announced, we see Dominic Ray in the back talking about it. When Austin Theory comes in, he's like, you're Rey Mysterio. Can we get a selfie together? And he goes to get a selfie, and he looks at Dom and says, "Man, you know what? Can you please take this?" He's like, "I'm not a photographer, and this isn't your locker room." So Theory proposes, "How about we have a match tonight?" Dominic accepts, and that is where we go. So Dominic says he will handle it by himself because he knows Ray has a lot going on. Dominic Mysterio versus Austin Theory. Hey, look, two guys who are 24 years old, both of them. So if these guys stay with WWE and actually get used right, these guys could be a future piece of this company, wrestling one day for the United States Championship or Intercontinental Championship. Do I see Dominic Mysterio, Austin Theory making it to the WWE title or Universal title ranks? No. They just don't have what Vince is looking for in that department. But say a year or two from now, after cutting their teeth. I mean, Dominic, yeah, former tag team champion, but he was with his father. I could see 5 years from now, Dominic, Austin feuding for the U.S. title, Intercontinental title, hell, maybe even teaming up to be a tag team and being the tag team champions. I can see these guys, if they would stay in WWE this for the next 5 years, which who knows, maybe WWE after Ray retires and Dominic doesn't go the way they hoped he would because they fucked him up, they'll release him, they'll release Austin Theory, and we'll see these guys in All Elite Wrestling or Impact Wrestling or somewhere else doing their thing, because these two have a lot of potential in the future. Right now, they're just little chips that will eventually be built up to be bigger chips and bigger cogs for the company. Match was decent. Theory wins with the ATL. Dominic gets some offense in. Austin Theory wins, as he should, because they're building him up. RKO is backstage. Riddle is wanting to know, but they're going to be dressing up for Halloween. Orton says, you know what? We'll talk about Halloween until we're blue in the face later, but tonight we need to defend these titles against Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, two veterans who came from SmackDown to win gold. Riddle understands and promises they will clean those dirty dogs up. Which Riddle, you know it's coming. You know the turn is coming. Riddle's getting annoying. Randy Orton's getting annoyed with Matt Riddle, but how long is it going to take for him to go, you know what, I'm done with this, RKO, fuck this guy, I'm out of here. So, we get a coming soon vignette for Via, who gives a shit. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, the Dirty Dogs, versus Team RK Bro, Matt Riddle and Randy Orton. This was a good match, decent match. Matt Riddle gets the win by rolling, so Riddle decks Ziggler for a close 2 count as Roode makes the save. Orton ducks a right hand and drops Roode with the RKO. But he eats a super kick from Dolph Ziggler. Matt Riddle and Dolph Ziggler do some counter roll-ups, trying to trade some pins to try and get a win, but Riddle is able to eventually lock in his hands and everything on a roll-up, on a cradle, and he pins to retain the championship, which makes Randy Orton very fucking happy. As you can see, after they raise their hands, he is a lot more energetic. They get on the ropes. He's pointing at Matt Riddle and just all happy that they won their tag team match, and Riddle was the one to pick up the win and get the job done. We see Kevin Patrick backstage with Seth Rollins and asks if he feels like he has a target on his back. Of course, he has a target on his back. He says because he's the biggest threat to the WWE title, which everyone is aware of. He goes on and gets intense and declares that he will be the next WWE champion. We get a promo for Halloween Havoc, which is tomorrow night, which will have Chucky a part of it. Remember when WCW was dying and they were on their last legs and they brought Chucky in? Now WWE is bringing Chucky to NXT. WWE is starting to look more and more like WCW as the weeks move on. It's just sad. We get a little back on big Oldberg versus Bobby Lashley, no holds barred, fall count anyway match, a crown jewel. Couldn't give a shit. Lashley said it's still his show and he'll be more focused and vicious than he returns. Okay, don't care. Fatal 4-way number 1 contender match, Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Who's the one guy in this match who's going to face off against Big E? Obviously, that answer is Seth Rollins. Was it a good ladder match? Yeah, it was good. Guys going out there, beating the shit out of each other, ladder spots. Kevin Owens brings the table in. Does not go through it, surprisingly. Actually, powerbombs Rey Mysterio through it. So, it came down to Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, because Rey Mysterio got powerbombed through a table by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens got thrown from the inside to the outside through a ladder. Finn Balor eats a stomp, and Seth Rollins runs up, grabs the thing, and pulls it down, and picks up the win. Seth Rollins wins the ladder match. I'm not going to be one of those guys who sits there and tries to go blow for blow, because there's just so much going on. Big high spots, ladders get used, everyone gets the shit beat out of them, and in the end, Seth Rollins picks up the win. All 4 guys went out there, busted their ass, and gave you, in my opinion, was a pretty decent main event. This was actually not a very bad episode of Monday Night Raw. I mean, the triple threat match for the tag team title shot was good. The tag team title match was pretty good too. And then you got the fatal 4-way ladder match at the end. I can't say this was a terrible episode of Monday Night Raw, but it wasn't great. I mean, outside of those 3 spots, the rest of the show was meh. I mean, Damian Priest getting new music, Carmella got new music, even though Carmella just got that theme music, when she made her return, what was it? 6 months ago, 7 months ago? Oh, I'm sorry. When did Carmella make a return? Was it not around Money in the Bank? When they did the whole sommelier thing, it was before that. Whenever they introduced Reggie, that's when Carmella got her entire, got this new music. And now all of a sudden, they just decided we're going to change it too. That means Sami Zayn, Damian Priest, and Carmella have got their theme changed in this new era. Keith Lee had his theme changed before the new era started when he became out as Keith Bearcat Lee and killed Akira Tozawa a few weeks ago. There's a lot wrong with WWE. There's a lot wrong with Monday Night Raw. I don't know who thought that opening segment was a good idea. Oh, that's right. Vince McMahon probably did. We didn't need the 4 guys to come out and list their accolades. Just come out and say, "Listen, I want to be the next WWE champion. I should be one in charge." Have them all come out, say that they want to be the next one to face Big E. Have them brawl for a bit if they want. Have Serena Deville come out, say, "You know what? Fatal 4-way. Make it a ladder match if you need to. Fine, whatever," and give us the match in the main event. You didn't have to have everyone come out and say, "Oh yeah, I'm a former NXT champion, Universal champion, US champion, tag champ, blah, 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 blah." You didn't need that. You did not fucking need that. The women's division is just shit. Becky is the champ, fine. I don't know if she's trying to be a babyface or a heel at this junction. All I know is it's just not working for me. Get this woman to what she was before she left. And it did come out, I believe, last week. She admitted WWE wanted her to turn heel. It wasn't her idea. I know when SummerSlam ended, it was like, oh, it was Becky Lynch's idea. She wanted to be heel because of how well it worked with Roman Reigns. Turns out that was wrong. Becky didn't want to be a heel. WWE wanted her to be a heel, and it failed. Next week, Becky versus Belair. That's it. I do not want to see these two wrestle again after Survivor Series. Whoever wins, they go on. They're the champion until at least the Royal Rumble, where they fight Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Tamina, or Natty, whoever's on Monday Night Raw. They could fight Zelena Vega. They could fight Piper Niven. I do not care. Alexa Bliss could come back after her surgery, and maybe she gets a title shot. I do not care. Just no more Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. We've seen it too many times. Move the fuck on. Big E versus Seth Rollins, that match should be good depending on when they have it. I just hope that they have it on TV, which sounds like that's what they're going to have to do. You give it more than 15 minutes. You give this ladder match the second half of the third hour. Give a title match between Big E and Seth Rollins it's the second half of the third hour. That would be fine. Like Damian Priest, I don't know what they're doing. Who's going to be there? Who's going to challenge him? T-Bar did lose tonight, so it's not going to be him. Honestly, if they build up Austin Theory enough and they give him enough wins, by the time December rolls around, I would see Austin Theory take on Damian Priest. I wouldn't say win the title, but at least be up challenging. We'll have to wait and see. If Seth Rollins was to be the one to dethrone Big E, which could very much be the case if they wanted to, I wouldn't say in their first title match because it's not going to be a one and done. They're going to have a couple matches. I could honestly see Damian Priest be the guy to take the title off of whoever beats Big E, whether it be Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, whoever else. Damian Priest has probably been one of the biggest success stories in 2021 from NXT. He is probably the last success story from NXT from Triple H's time as the head of NXT. But that is your Monday Night Raw review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds of the France Club, find me on twitch.tv/The France Club, and find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I will see you guys on Wednesday for AEW, where Jon Moxley takes on 10, and Shida takes on Serena Deeb, and so much more. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.